I'm delighted to be here. The subject today is so important. The 19th annual lecture of our great icon, taking place today on a Sunday. On a Sunday. What a unique day. And so as we are here, I know that our icon, who is in heaven, seated there, that the angels, they are around here with us here today. And Chief is looking at us, at what we are doing today. So in fact, I even wrote a letter to Chief, which I'm going to give to the organizer later. All right? And in the letter, it speaks exactly to the subject matter of today, which is so important. Free, fair, credible election as a tool for national development. I want to thank the former chairperson of Ghana Electoral Commission for his lecture, her lecture, for her clarity of thoughts and logic of argument, particularly with respect to the subject matter and the challenge he has put to all of us Nigerians, some of which I will quickly speak to. Every civilization has a primitive past. Time there was when in America they had problem with the issue of elections. The fourth governor of New York, Alfred Smith, perhaps frustrated with the kind of thing that we are going through in Nigeria, that Ghana has also now, as a model in the West African sub-region, has gone through, had this to say, that fellow Americans, no matter what we are going through, the ill of democracy can only be cured by more democracy. That was the fourth governor of New York. Today, Nigeria is going through its own situation and challenge. But I want to declare here, as I point out to some of the issues she has raised, is that never before have I been as optimistic about the possible outcome of election than this year. On account of what I know that we have in place. And so in my first paragraph of my letter, which dwell on the subject matter of our keynote speaker, was to Chief to update him about what is going on. Because what we are doing today is celebrating. We want to update Chief about what is going on in Nigeria, where we are. And I said, Chief, why we continue to celebrate you for all that you have done for our country. But let me quickly hastily to inform you that the celebrated case to expand the frontier of participation in the electoral process in Nigeria through party registration, that regrettably, most of the new parties are now supporters club supporting the main parties in Nigeria. This was not what you fought for. Number 2, paragraph, speaking to the same subject matter. And that you use the law as an instrument of social engineering. All your battles were fought in the law courts. In fact, you kept telling us to key on to what Sapara William told us, that the duty of lawyers is to use the law, for the service of the people and for the direction of his country. But that, Chief, as you have left, many of those who were with you, who stood by us, many of them have gone to the other side. They are now involved in revisionism. Some of them have repudiated the ideas for which you fought for. But however, the rule of law is alive in Nigeria, no matter the assault. And that currently, speaking to the subject matter about how are we challenging the process, and that some of those provisions that you challenged 20 years ago, several years ago, that we've been fighting for, as contained, for example, Section 40 of the then 2002 Electoral Act that says that a presiding officer has a kind of an ultimate power that whenever he is satisfied that a voter before him or her could vote, he will issue a ballot paper. That statutory provision, which has been used for rigging election, for buying voters' card, that we fought for over 20 years, that, Chief, the law has changed now. We are now having Section 47 of the now 2022 Electoral Act. That is now the reason why you see PVC be dumped in various places in Nigeria. Except those who are still buying now ignorantly. They don't know that the law has changed. Also, Section 41 of the then 2002 Electoral Act that have been replicated in all the acts up to the last one that have been repealed, which encourage what you call a rigging of a massive scale. What is that provision? Section 53, which Gani identified then that, look, how can you, on election day, after election, you have a law that says that the computation of the outcome of election should be based on total number of registered voters instead of those who actually came or accredited. It took us 20 years. That, Chief, there's a good news here. That in the current 2022 Electoral Act, we now have a new law. And furthermore, that sections 50, 52 of the then 2002 Electoral Act that you fought for, that you criticized, that you challenged, that prohibited the use of electronic system of any kind, it has now been repealed. You now have Section 50 that has now granted operational independence to the Independent National Electoral Commission to use some level of technology in realization of the fact that any society that failed to key into changing development in the ICT will be overtaken by the chaos of decay and decline. But here in our country, which is risen more than ever before, I'm so hopeful that hope is reborn in Nigeria, that the things you fought for, that by this year we are going to realize that, because under the current Section 51, that they refused to listen to for 20 years, right now, irrespective of what you have on the register of voters, if you like, have millions, have thousands, on election day, under the current Section 51, it is only those who actually came and accredited compulsorily that will now be used to compute the outcome of election. Therefore, no more margin for people to rig. For instance, under the old section, where you have 500 people in a polling unit, because the law says total number of registered voters, what politicians will do is to ensure that at the end of election, where only 100 people came on that day, which is the issue about voters' turnout she spoke about, because you have extra 400, that became an incentive for them to connive with INEC officials as they were in the past to now do thumb printing because they have a margin of 400. But today, what has now happened is that at the end of the poll, a new register will emerge. A new register based on those who actually came and accredited and not the total number of registered voters anymore. Chief, this is a good news for this country. Now, furthermore, and perhaps far more important, speaking to the subject matter of our keynote speaker, is the fact that today, under the current regime of the use of the biomodal accreditation system, known as the BVAS, which means that unlike in the old system, where in the unlikely event that we created, for example, our president of NBA, well known by everybody, he came before a presiding officer because we were unable in the old regime to confirm either of his 10 fingers, we could not deny him, but issue him what we call incident form. That incident form became, a form for rigging election. Now, we have moved beyond that process of SCR to now what you call the beavers, in which case, in the unlikely event that just one of your 10 fingers could not be confirmed, what about your face? We have gone to that level. Therefore, no more incident form. Now, that is the reason where I stated in my letter to Chief in heaven that right now there is panic in the land. Politicians are running helter-skelter because all the loopholes have been blocked. So they don't know what to do. But I also informed Chief that the only fear we have now is our constituency, the judiciary. That's where they are heading to right now. Because you all recall, as students of history, that every problem that have led to the truncation of election in Nigeria, we end up with judiciary. You all recall, right now as we speak, many politicians are hanging around court registry with processes on how to stop the use of beavers. That's what they are doing at the moment. So one of the challenges here to the NBA is that somewhere in Imo State, we have been told, we have seen the process filed by one of our members. One of our members, the Supreme Court stamp is there. Why is it that MB has not called that lawyer to come and explain taking an action that may lead to widespread disruption of public life in the Federal Republic of Nigeria? Because as I'm standing here, Mr. Chairman, I cannot beat my chest to guarantee that one of our own in the bench who has been told that we will settle you for life, give us an order, 11th hour to the day of election, will not grant an order to stop the use of beavers. Reminiscent of what happened, it happened before, in June 12th, on the 11th, on the eve of election, Justice Basi Ikpeme gave an order to stop the election on June 12th. That's when the country was put on a journey that we are yet to fully recover from. But today, I cannot guarantee that. But we will be waiting to see that judge, the family he come from, in this country, that we do that. But while we are saying this, a stone sea coming should not blind the eye. A stone sea coming should not blind the eye. No matter how bad we feel, if the ceremonial, if the burial of a man is over, and we still see the drummer man hanging around loosely, despite our grief, we should be able to ask if you want to marry the widow. Most of them, they have done so bad, and we think that we must challenge them. So, in concluding, Mr. Chairman, my fellow discussant, free and fair election is the bedrock of any democracy. The whole embrace of democracy is essentially because it brings about participation and accountability to the process of human development. Election provides vertical accountability. But because of the failure of arms of government to deal with horizontal accountability, we now have emerging what we call diagonal accountability. Citizens taking responsibility. Never before have we seen the kind of awareness that we are seeing today in this country. This election, make no mistake, this election is one that the people of this country want to make a statement. And that statement will be made. There is nothing anybody can do. Power has been returned back to the polling unit, where election will be won and lost, and not in the courtroom anymore. We must end the business of election tribunal in Nigeria. That is the path we are following. I think if I have an opportunity again, a few other things I need to say. Thank you very much.
Okay. This is very serious business. Mr. Igini has said the people...
First, the last two questions I need to clear that. The system that we have that will work for 10 years I spent in that place was to return power to the Nigerian people. And that is why today I have made the point very clear, and we shall see what will happen in this election. Shock and lamentation are waiting those who are relying on the old orders. Because the system we have now, it has delivered 105 elections. We have been doing the piloting before the president, before the National Assembly, reluctantly passed the bill and was signed by the president. If you have watched me on television, I kept thanking the National Assembly and the president. Because what they passed, what they signed, many of them did not read those things. This is where we are. The connivance I was referring to, by way of updating Igini in heaven, is that these parties, rather than prepare for their own candidate, they will be waiting for when APC or PDP will be through with their primaries. They will now go and push for candidates from APC and PDP. That's what they've been doing. That is the connivance. Now, the issue you refer to as polling units was an account of the sections I mentioned to you under the Repeal Act 2010. Section 49 dealing with that omnibus power given to presiding officer, that if he is satisfied, that discretionary power given to him, that enables him to allow people who are not supposed to vote, have changed to Section 49, which means the use of the beavers is now compulsory. Section 53 of the Repeal Act that was used for 20 years to produce some of the politicians we are having around here, many of you will not see again as from 2023, has now been repealed. You now have Section 51. Overvoting, computation of election is now based on those who actually came, accredited numbers of persons and not registered number of persons. You will all recall the incident of what we call inconclusive elections. Have you been hearing that for a long time now? That is gone. Before the bill was signed by the president on the 25th of February last year, we had carried out a pilot of over 100 elections. In fact, the process of transmission started in 2012 when I was the commissioner in Calabar. That was the first place the current system was test run. I sat in my office and the results were coming in and I was seeing it on the board. Where we are now, power is back to the Nigerian people. Nothing they can do anymore. Look, optimism about what a collective group can achieve is natural to human being. My optimism is not reckless. It is based on concrete, realizable electoral templates that is making them running helter-skelter everywhere. Before now, he used to tell you whether you vote for us, you don't vote for us, it doesn't matter. Can they tell you that now? They are now paying attention to the people because effective power to govern in a democracy is based on election. And two metrics which the speaker talked about for measuring a good elections: process and outcome. Was there competition? Was there participation? Was there a legitimate outcome? On the Osun, because it is in court, pending, I can't speak much on that. But if not for time, I will give you an example of what happened in Akwa Ibom, which is similar to what we are hearing about Osun. So I can talk quickly about Akwa Ibom. I warn politicians that if they rely on the old order, they were going to have a dinosaur experience. They were going to go into extinction. They didn't believe. You all know the outcome of what happened in Akwa Ibom State. That some has gone into extinction right now. Now, when election was out, somebody generated 60,800 votes. This system that we are talking about, I, as a commissioner, I have been using it. I have been doing the pilot. And it was very clear. I went to the corridor. When you got to the corridor, the result that was on the from EC80 that they pressure people to write different from what you have on the corridor. The corridor was having 9,000 votes, but against 60,000 that were generated. Just from one local government to Torpedo, 9 other local governments for senatorial elections. But the corridor was very clear. We have now moved from the regime of corridor to beavers. Let me tell you here. Most of the political Egyptians you are seeing now, mark my words, you will see them no more. And I say this on account of the fact that you must collect your PVC. It was a philosopher who said that the conditions created by elite are sometimes necessary for their overthrow. The level of awareness today in the country, we have never seen that before. The level of interest, we have never seen that before. The level of anger in this country today, we have never witnessed that before. Everybody is fired up. We are ready. In time of despair, when we have what we require to liberate the people, hope is the only battle cry of any leader. So if all of you collect your PVC, nothing that anybody can do. Poverty, indeed, it has been the source. Poverty and illiteracy have been the sustaining factor for what they have been doing. But now, people will spend money, they are going to lose all their monies. Go and mark it. Who told you that there was no money spent in Edo State election? Can you imagine a country, our country, this country, if not for the system, that a governor will move from a ruling party at the center to an opposition party and survive? It was that system that saved that situation. What happened in Anambra State? They tried, you know what they have done? They've gone to Asia, different places to try to hack our system. They all failed woefully. Anambra, they tried the same thing. Ondo State. And of course, the last Osun election. If we are to, look, it is not everything that the hunters sees during hunting that he comes to tell the public. If I am to tell you the level of resources deployed, billions that they have lost, they can't cry publicly. Bigger cry is coming in this election. Wash it out. Collect your PVC. They can't do anything anymore. That I can tell you. I have never before spoken like this, but because I know where we are. I know the system we have in place. Look, I said this here. Those who fail to drink from the well of knowledge will die of taste in the desert of ignorance. They should go and read the act. Go and read the act. It's very clear. I just want to clear some of these things so that get ready for this election. We are going to have, Nigeria must sing a new song. People like us, our interest is the process. The outcome will be determined by the Nigerian people. And that's why I decided I will never be a consultant to any of the contesting candidates, but I will be a consultant to the Nigerian people. And that is why I have been on television, educating Nigerians on sound knowledge of the entire process that we have now. That power is back to you. Power is back to, take it. Nothing anybody can do. They are running head-scatter. If I'm to tell you the kind of call we get every day, Igini, this thing you are talking about, you said you will not mention some electoral provision for us. Why are you not mentioning it? I said, no, I won't mention it. You want to rig election? I won't mention it to you and all that. So I'm saying this so that people can understand where we are, where we are going. The beavers has come. IRF will be used. The outcome will be a reflection of the people. Indeed, we have convicted professors for rigging elections. On whole, all I can tell you that prepare 2023 Next month, we are going to celebrate Gani after the elections.